Well, thank you very much to Professor Adapala and all of you in RUFORUM for the opportunity to address you today. It's a real pity that I can't be with you this week. I would have loved to have come to the RUFORUM Assembly and help you celebrate your 10 years of existence. RUFORUM is a network that I've admired for many years in the way that you're active, you're driving change across the universities of Africa. And this is also an agenda very much in tune with that of the Global Forum on Agricultural Research. For those of you who don't know GFAR, we work across a number of areas, bringing change in the way we think about research, extension, education, and enterprise to really make them more effective in development. And together, we bring together stakeholder networks from all those sectors. We're looking at how we can drive change through various key areas that you've identified that we need to make happen. Better foresight about our future needs, better thinking about how we can form real partnerships between different sectors and break down the silos, the walls between the sectors that constrain so much of what we do. Fundamentally, we must develop new capacities to meet the future challenges that the world faces. And that involves investment as well. It involves real investment in the institutions and the capabilities that are needed for the modern age and for the future. It also means thinking about agricultural research and science and social science within a much broader context of development. Thinking about the needs of women, the needs of youth, of addressing agendas to rebuild countries in protracted crises. And all of these mean coming back to an accountability for our agricultural research, our institutions, to those that they serve, fundamentally the small farmers. And in Africa, of course, the small farmers are the main farmers of Africa, and sadly are also the main poor of Africa. So in looking at these agendas as we go forwards, we have to really think about how we're going to address this together. Look at the areas of how we bring young people back into agriculture. How do we make agriculture attractive again? How do we make it cool for young people to go into agriculture as a choice, not a necessity? And this is vital for Africa's economic development as well as its agricultural development. We have to create new opportunity, new livelihoods, new ways of using new skills in IT, in advanced science, in working directly with farmers, in knowledge transfer, all these areas where universities provide the essential grounding for young people to be inspired into these professions and to contribute into the wider world. So for RUFORUM also, I certainly encourage you to look at some of the future challenges we will face. Climate change. How will the universities play their role in addressing the big needs that are coming and linking with the policy issues and the other actors involved in these areas? These are all vital issues, but fundamentally also, in addressing a development agenda, we need to get away from some of the linear thinking about research to its users. The users are part of the research agenda. They're part of the knowledge generation. And the more universities can bring society in connection with science, then they're fulfilling a very valuable role of rebuilding that trust and understanding of how agricultural knowledge, agricultural innovation, agricultural research are all central to humanity, not just to academia. And I think some of the changes that we're working through RUFORUM, but also on the global scale through GFAR, the global university body, are very much about bringing reform in the curricula in which you're working, to create the new skills that young people are looking for today. Thinking about enterprise training. How do we turn agricultural innovation into products, into opportunities, into income, into escape from poverty, into growth out of poverty? These are fundamental shifts. We need an agenda for tomorrow and one that will attract young people and give them the skills that the future will demand. So we certainly would urge you to bring out that key role of universities in shaping the future of agriculture, thinking also about what form of agriculture does Africa look for going forwards. Yes, we have to feed the hungry. Yes, we have to fill mouths. But we also have to think about what form of sustainability is required for that agriculture. How are we bringing forward the different agendas How are we reducing waste, not just producing more, but wasting less? How do we also bring out issues of what form of rural society is Africa looking for? How do we maintain vibrant villages, communities, and their culture? The way in which people are connected to the land and their landscapes, and make a value of that instead of a handicap. And take that forward. Look at the way in which economic growth can happen through agriculture, rather than people escaping from agriculture to the cities, an uncertain future, and the slums of the big cities. Let's find ways to create viable, sustainable agricultural futures, and their universities and their freedom to think provide a valuable opportunity, an invaluable opportunity, to really think big and think fresh about the future of agriculture and the role that agricultural science and social science play in delivering that. I'd like to also say a little bit about capacity development itself. Often when we talk about capacities, we've been very fixated on the individual training. But as Africa grows forward and takes on more of its self-determination, more of its self-empowerment, we need to also be looking at the different skills that are needed in agricultural systems, where the graduates of today and tomorrow will find their roles. So let's look beyond the individual and also think about what kinds of skills are needed. We need to be thinking about enterprise, as I mentioned earlier, but also about opportunities in all the new science areas, the new ways of thinking, the new ways of connecting science and society. And to do so, much of that needs to come out of Africa, African culture, African ways of working, African ways of thinking. But also, certainly at the Global Forum, we're very keen and happy to do all we can to support those processes by linking you with other partners outside and their experiences outside Africa. And that's how we can really progress, by learning from each other, by learning by doing and making things happen on the ground. All of that obviously also takes resources. It takes money. And one of the big agendas that GFAR is pursuing is to get serious investment into national innovation systems, research, extension, education, enterprise. All of those are grossly underinvested in most of Africa. So let's find ways to work together, to link with the governments and their commitments. The public, private and civil sectors are all involved in this. And find ways to really making sure that external aid assistance is driven by African processes, African demands, and is adding value to African institutions. And that's what we're striving to do, to help you to build processes using the best of your existing capabilities and capacities, bringing additional resources to help generate further action for you, and also working with you to find other partners who can help you add value to what you're doing and bring new ideas and new thinking into this work. So this combination of nationally driven processes, nationally owned processes, and the ability to mobilize other actors from all sorts of different sectors to help your agenda, that's something that GFAR is here to help RUFORUM with, and we look forward to doing so. So I wish you all good fortune with your deliberations this week. I think it's a very exciting meeting. I'm so sorry I can't be there, but I wish you, RUFORUM, great success and a great future. Thank you very much.